Good morning, everyone. Today is December 15th, 2023. Yay! And well, I'm sure as a lot of you or most of you have heard at this point, Naughty Dog, the company behind Jak and Daxter, Drake's Fortune, or I should say Uncharted, and the ever so popular Last of Us series, has been working on a multiplayer game called Factions for a few years now. And as of yesterday, December 14th, it's been canceled. Oh, shocker. So, I will admit, I haven't gotten back. Yeah, I haven't gotten back. I haven't started Uncharted yet. I have seen gameplay footage, and I do want to play it at some point. But The Last of Us, when I heard it was just it was a zombie game, I think I was zombied out. I seen gameplay footage. It didn't really make me go, "Oh, I have to play it." The story I kind of pieced together over the years, but it wasn't enough to like draw me in or anything like that. And then of course there's a TV show I can watch, which I'm told is pretty faithful to the game, so I may watch that at some point. Then came The Last of Us Part 2. Well, I wasn't thrilled to... I can't say I wasn't thrilled to hear that it was coming, but it was one of those things like, oh, okay, they're just gonna do a Uncharted and just make more and more sequels to this just to get more and more money. And I heard, I don't know, 2 years ago or whenever the game came out, that it had a scene in it that really destroyed or split the fan base in two. And to this day, people still argue about how the character that got killed was truly a monster from the beginning. But anyway, there was supposed to be a multiplayer game called Factions. As of December 14th, it's been canceled. I think saw it pretty not late last night. I think 7 o'clock my time. But anyway, Naughty Dog released a update. So, an update on The Last of Us Online. Yay! They finally got an update, because this has been in update hell for a while now. From what I understand, there's not been a lot of news. It's been a lot of concept art and ideas. So, the update reads, "We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online. There is no easy way to say this. We made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on that game." Alright, so the anticipation, yes, I can definitely understand from Sony's fans on that, since The Last of Us has been the big seller or calling card or the slap in the face to Xbox for a couple of years now. I know I've been on Twitter seeing a lot more of people saying, we got this, yeah, what do you think of that, blah, blah, blah. But with this update saying they're stopping development, obviously everyone's going to be slapping this in their face for a while. Next paragraph reads, "We know this news will be tough for many, especially our dedicated Last of Us Factions community, who have been following our multiplayer ambitions oh shit, I can't say this word. Ardently? Sorry. Oh boy. Ardently. Here's how you pronounce it too.
Ardently.
Anyway. A thesaurus will be handy. Anyway, we're equally crushed at the studio, as we were looking forward to putting it in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background of how we came to this decision. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it was called Factions or it was going to be called The Last of Us Online either way, but I knew it as Factions. Obviously, with a name like that, I would imagine it would be split into factions. Survivor factions, yay! Because, during the zombie apocalypse, that's just what we need. We need to have humanity continue to be divided instead of coming together all as one. Okay, anyway, so, like I said before, there's been a lot of PlayStation fanboys who have been following this ardently over the years, and even going as far as to say this from the real J-Dub. Factions will launch before Starfield. Remember this tweet. Starfield fucking launched already. This tweet was made, I think, last year in 2022. Oh, J-Dub, I am so sorry to tell you. Oh, too bad I don't follow you on Twitter, otherwise I actually have more shit to show, and this is just hilarious. Oh, this did not age well at all. Especially when Starfield launched before this. And now it is canceled. Anywho, back to the statement. The multiplayer team has been in pre-production with this game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2. And just for reference, Last of Us 1 came out in 2013, and The Last of Us Part 2 came out in 2020. So the game has been in development for about 3 years. Which, not terrible for a multiplayer game, I would imagine, considering all the assets and coding and all that they had to do, because games can take up to, 10 years. They shouldn't. Star Citizen. But I can understand trying to do an online game would take a lot longer than what it has. So, yeah, it's about 3 years or so. We were working on The Last of Us Part 2, crafted an experience we felt was unique and had tremendous potential. As the multiplayer team iterated on the concept of The Last of Us Online during this time, their vision crystallized. Final Fantasy. The gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we were enthusiastic about the direction we were headed. So, I guess they had alpha going or something like that. Not necessarily beta, because I think they would have announced that. Yeah, I guess they were in alpha and it was playing pretty well. Or they had the bullet list of what they wanted to do and all that. And obviously they say they were excited about it. Yay! Okay, next one. In ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. Oh no! Don't choke on your aspirations! Don't do whatever. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come. No shit, Sherlock. Severely impacting development of future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us. Become solely a live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. So, with that, you could have simply split into two studios if that was an option. You can have Naughty Dog's, like regular Naughty Dog. You could do that, could be your single player studio, and then you could have Naughty Dog, I don't know, online or something like that. I wouldn't know what you would call it. You could even call it a completely different studio if you wanted. Because if you think about it, I know Square Enix is probably a bigger studio and all that, but they have multiple studios working on different projects. Activision has multiple studios working on Call of Duties, because apparently they have to be released every fucking year. Anyway, no, you didn't have to choose only two paths. to become a live service game studio or continue working on single player games. Now, I can appreciate people saying, yeah, we want to work on single player games. I personally enjoy single player games more than multiplayer. Despite the fact, if you look at my Twitter timeline, I posted my Xbox stats said I played Destiny 2 for 200 hours this year? 246 hours this year. And that was in hopes that Destiny 2 would actually be fucking good. But yeah, if you notice, I spent a few more hours on Final Fantasy 14. Anyway, but yeah, you didn't have to choose those two paths. Live service studio games. I mean, for Sony has not been going very well as it is. They had 6 planned, and all 6 are now shut down. I don't know if this was another victim of the 6 or makes it number 7. But Naughty Dog has definitely been doing much better on the single player narrative games. I feel like BioWare was the same. Because if you think about, in my point of view, Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda's multiplayer was just simply the Horde mode from Gears of War. And Gears of War, that worked very well, simply because, if I remember correctly, that was the first major Horde mode. There could have been one before, but I remember enjoying Gears of War a lot more. And then Mass Effect, it kind of worked for number 3, simply because that was during the Reaper War, and I mean, it did help the story a little bit with the endings that I'm not even going to get into all that right now, but I think single player studios like BioWare and Naughty Dog, they need to focus on single players and not have companies say you need to do a multiplayer. Because I remember playing Dragon Age Inquisition's multiplayer a couple of times, and I personally did not enjoy it. I liked Mass Effect 3's Horde mode. I didn't like Andromeda's, because to me that one made no sense, and it felt like a copy and paste from number 3, so it was less enjoyable in that aspect. But I enjoyed the stories. I enjoyed the single player portions of the games more than I ever did the multiplayer. If I was into The Last of Us, I would say I probably enjoy the single player more as well. But you did not have to solely become a live service or solely focus on single player. You could have done a Square Enix and have a studio focus on doing factions constantly or until you ran out of ideas and just kind of let it go, and then have a other part of the studio doing single players. I'm sure if you talk to whoever is in charge of, what is it, Neil Druckmann, I think, because he came up with this wonderful tweet last year. I especially like this part. More news next year. Oh, Neil. Oh, J-Dub. Oh, all of you. But yeah, you didn't have 2 choices. Next paragraph says, we are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched the project. Ew. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects and will be invaluable in the direction we are headed out as a studio. We have more than one ambitious brand new single player game that we are working on here at Naughty Dog, and we cannot wait to share more about what comes next when we're ready. So, the learnings and investments in technology is motion capture. That's been around for quite some time. I kind of hope they mean different coding and how they handle all that and stuff like that. And yeah, that'll be cool to see how well they carry all that over into other projects and stuff like that. And to be invaluable in the direction we are heading as a studio. you can always learn from a bad mistake, so there's always that. We have more than one ambitious brand new single player game we're working out to get. Naughty Dog, I want to look that up. Because if they're actually saying they're making new games, that would be cool. But the issue with that is because even on their site, it's a remastered right here. And there's only a few new features, like a roguelike survival. And even their games only says Last of Us, Uncharted, and Jak and Daxter. Those are their 3 big ones, and they haven't touched Jak and Daxter for years and years. Let's see if there's anything on this. But the point I was trying to get is they only been doing remakes and remasters as of late. The last big one was The Last of Us 2, and that was 3 years ago. And they're coming out with remasters now. So I don't know what games they're talking about. Hopefully we'll get more information on that. Well, obviously, we can't wait to share about what's coming next when we're ready. When we're ready. Oh. Just kind of do what they did with Blade recently in the Game Awards. Just give us a poster or a trailer or something. Like, I don't know, have Nate Drake's son's outline or something like that. I don't know if he got married or not. Whatever. But, yeah, all you're giving us right now is saying we canceled this game. We're sorry. But, yeah, until then, we're incredibly thankful to our community for your support throughout the years. Now, this is a very corporate response, obviously. It doesn't really say much. It just says we canceled the game, or we didn't have enough money, or we didn't have enough time, or it was too ambitious. Oh, we just wanted to give you so much. Oh. Instead of, putting out a base game, maybe a year later, give more, or a few months later, give a little bit more, a few months later, give a little bit more. Like, you don't have to go the route of Hello Games with No Man's Sky, where you go on a media tour and spread a whole bunch of shit that doesn't happen day one, and then spend the next 7 years upgrading it to the point where you promised us 7 years later. I'm sure with as anticipated as the game was, I'm sure fans would have been more than willing to wait a few months to get something more. Look at God of War. They just released a new Game Plus a year later or so, even though they said they weren't going to. And then they did, because everyone was asking for a new Game Plus. Yeah, so it's just like, you guys don't have to unleash everything all at once. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV, I keep going to it because obviously I play it a lot. Final Fantasy XIV has been on the store in the PlayStation for 10 years. It started on the PS3. I'll remember that. And the base game, they had a reset to a Realm Reborn, but from there it just keeps getting better and better, and they keep adding more and more. Destiny's been around for a while now as well. I think 10 years. Let's see. First Destiny came out in September 2014, so almost 10 years at this point. So yeah, as much as Destiny has blundered or Bungie has blundered in recently, they've been adding more stuff, and yes, they've been taking a lot of stuff away too, which still pisses me off to this day. But yeah, even if Factions was as ambitious as you claim it was going to be, you still have a fan base. You still have people who will be willing to wait. Not every game needs to be perfect day one. It's got to be playable day one, granted. But you still are able to release stuff slowly if needed. But then came a lot of the salt from PlayStation fanboys. MBG. People should accept two things can be true at once. It can be true that Naughty Dog and Sony completely fucked up with this multiplayer game and wasted years of devs' time and disappointed fans. And disappointed fan. Spelling. Fans. Or the fans. It could also be true that it's good that they decided to stick to single-player games in the end. Now, I can kind of agree with his his third statement there. However, I don't think it's Sony fucked this up. I think this is completely on Naughty Dog. And yeah, they wasted years of development time. There's no denying that. But the problem is they still had it. They still were pushing it so hard, and then so it could be true that they decided to stick with single player games in the end. Yeah, that could be true, but also they could have just wasted millions upon millions of dollars and people's time and reputation. And now they damaged their fan base credibility. Like, because this is such a huge fuck up, kind of with Hello Games. I mean, even if they even when they were releasing the DLC for free, the updates for free, they still damaged their reputation. How is this no different, MBG? This is a huge hit to the reputation. Like, when they announced the next game, I was like, okay, so is it going to be the next Factions? Is it going to be canceled? So this is just a huge hit to their reputation. People are probably going to think twice about getting the next Naughty Dog game. Reforge Gaming. Ooh, if you remember this guy, I'm thinking about doing a Salt video on him at some point, but the problem is there are so many people who do it so much better than I do. Man, he's a treat. Anyway, Naughty Dog decided on their own before the live service push from Sony to separate Factions 2 as a standalone game. They've also decided on their own not to become a live services studio. But Sony doesn't know what they're doing, and their live service plan is failing. Got it. Reforge. So, I don't think there was going to be a live service push from Sony. I don't know what Factions 2 is either. I hope that was a typo on your part. They also decided on their own not to become a live service studio. Yeah, it's entirely possible that's what they decided, but that could also just be the bullshit corporate line to hide the fact that they couldn't handle this, or something went wrong, or they were tired of spending millions of dollars into it. As for Sony, doesn't know what they're doing, and the live service plan is failing. Yes, all 6 of their live service plans have been canceled. They don't know what they're doing. Just because they have Bungie there, the studio that fired, 100 people, 8% of their staff on October 30th, giving them 1 day of coverage for their Medicare and all that, and then whatever unvested stocks that Sony gave them, didn't go to those employees. They went straight to the Bungie board. Oh, not to mention, in your streams, you love shitting on Bungie now. Gee, I wonder why you're saying Sony doesn't know it. Because that was all on Bungie, not Sony's fault? Oh, it's like you're a Sony pony. But then there's this guy, King Prell. Sounds like an excuse. I don't know why they needed to go the live service route. Well, they didn't. They don't need to. They could have just, like you said, they could have just made a traditional multiplayer game like they did with Uncharted 4, and fans would have been happy with that. Yes, they could have. Or they could have made a split studio. But yes, I do like your tweet down here, King Prell. I agree with it. Reforge, you're an idiot. You still don't know what you're talking about. With that shit out of the way, I was going to read an article from Dexerto, but I think this has gone on way too long, even when I edit all this crap out. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this first video of reading articles and shit like that. Hopefully, I will get better over time. Let me know what I can improve on and stuff like that. So, with that, I thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.